you guys have seen from the past few clips, I've had a mess of spaghetti for wiring up here for the past week and a half or 2 weeks. Well, you would have only seen from the video, but it has been that long. So what I've done is, you guys know that I depinned all of the harnesses and whatnot that were up here. These are just posi taps that I had on here to tie in the new wiring for my grip ace and my hidden switches, to be able to test them to make sure I had everything correct. So now I can cut my wires to length and route them and connect them permanently. So what I've done is I've taken some of this braided sheathing, which is just, it's really good. It makes everything look a lot nicer than regular heat shrink or the that corrugated wire loom with the split. So what I've done is run some heat shrink tubing all the way down to the end here. These are wires that are going to stay back here at the back end of the bike. So I will put a cover on them as well. Heat shrink it here every 6 inches or so inside of that bundle. There's some electrical tape to keep everything nice and tight, but this will run up along the spine, come up to the front. These will probably be cut off right around here at various lengths, so we don't have all the connections right next to each other, all the joints in some big wad. So you split those at various lengths so that you can offset the solder or the joints. And then this is gonna come back, and then I'll cover all of this. So right now, I think I've got everything covered as far as what connects what. There's going to be a lot of things that are not going to be used any longer because I have no controls at the front of the bike. All this is going to be coming out of the back of the headlight and the turn signals, so that will be covered and routed a different way so it's neater. But yeah, this is going to be super clean. Hopefully by the end of the day today, I'll have that all hooked up, put the tank back on, and I'll do a video and show all the lights and whatnot in front and what the hidden switches of my grip ace actually do. Moving right along. My new woven cable sheathing just arrived. It's a chrome look. We'll have to see how fake that looks. I'll probably use that up here so it kind of blends in, but I don't know. We'll see. That's like wearing costume jewelry. It just seems just a little too shiny, but we'll see. I mean, it'll blend in better than, the green, the yellow, and the black. And obviously this is not polished up, so it's not very shiny right now. So we'll see how it looks when I put it together. And I'll use it up here or something too. Ooh-wee, blingy, blingy, blingy. And let the connector placement begin. All right, I've got my wiring about 95% done. I've got everything tied in over here. Everything's connected. A couple of things are just temporary because I have to hang a couple of relays in places underneath the spine here, and I'm not exactly sure where they're going to go yet. So all my connections are here, but everything's not exactly where it's going to go yet. So I'm going to test this out, let you see how everything works. As I've shown you, I've got the grip ace here on the handlebars. That's going to be all my controls because I have no controls on either side. And right now I've got my passing lights or my auxiliary lights on a momentary switch so I can have them function as passing lights, but I may put them on a toggle switch that's a regular on-off switch so that I can have them on as opposed to being momentary or just lights to flash. So I'm going to remove my key and relocate that also, but for right now it's still there. So I'm just going to go through all the functionality. I've got to change something because right now when it comes on high beam, so I just got to switch it so it comes on low beam. And what you heard was the fuel pump kicking on. Obviously I don't have a tank here, so my fuel pump's just turning on. So there's my regular headlights. There's my running lights. So these are the running lights I installed from Custom Dynamics. They are for Harley Davidson to go in these particular type of lowers. My turn signals function like so. So they will flash. Then when I cancel them, running light comes back on. Left turn, running light back on. Hold your ears. Here's the horn. Got a set of air horns that are on there, so quite loud. And of course, high beam, low beam. And like I said, I have a momentary switch mounted right here for the passing lights. And like I said, I may do that just a regular on-off switch so they can function as driving lights. But I think with these, I don't think there's a need to really have those as driving lights also. And if I want to start it, there's no tank on it. I'm not going to let it start, but just so you can hear it crank. So, I accidentally hit the horn button in there, but you heard it start to crank over. That's it. So everything is controlled by the grip base. I will pull the camera around here and show you that again, just so you see what I'm working with as far as my functionality. But moving right along, illuminating the night. So this is just a recap on the grip base. Again, it's just awesome. So my hand will be here, and everything is just controlled with my thumbs. Right turn, horn, left turn, high beams. It's a little far out because I just didn't want my grips too close in, so I had at least a halfway decent spread of my arms across there. But when I turn my key on, again, you hear the fuel pump priming. Everything still works over there. High beam, low beam. When I hit that, still when I hit my left turn signal, right turn signal, horn. Got to figure out where I'm going to mount that thing. Super loud. I love it. And hitting these two together will actually crank it up. Not going to do that right now. Again, because I don't have a tank on there. There's no fuel in there, so cranking it won't do anything anyway. But that is an overview of the grip ace. It's wired into all of the wiring. Again, forgive the couple of things here. There's a few things that are just temporarily mounted in, but it's all controlled by this brain right here, grip ace. Coming from here, it's just a positive and negative that goes down through the bars, runs to the back here, plugs into the controller, and then the controller is wired into all the rest of the wiring harness. And Tim Ledford, who is the president, CEO, and the creator of Grip Ace, he's an awesome guy. I've actually been on the phone with him for the past 2 nights for about an hour each night because I was having an issue with getting the running lights to turn off when the turn signals came on here. So he and I were working through that, but it turns out that I was kind of silly because in my custom dynamics box that had my turn signals in it, it came with controllers designed to do what I needed to do. So while he was a great help, he's an awesome guy and very, very knowledgeable, I was able to do things with what was actually sent to me. So now I'm going to clean up all the remaining wiring, mount these relays. This one here is the starter relay, and then my horn relay. I'm going to find out where underneath the spine I'm going to put those, and close everything up, put the tank back on, and I've got another surprise once I put the tank on. I thought that I would give this chrome look wire sheathing a shot. I do not like it at all, and probably going to take it off. I could probably use it in other places that run along down the side of the bike or something, but in this exposed area between the headlight and the neck and the frame, I don't like it at all. I think it looks kind of cheesy. I think I'll probably go back to the clear stuff, which I think looks a lot better. The camera doesn't really pick it up very well. It's quite shiny, but it looks cheesy, so I'm not going to keep it there. So I realized I just went through the process of removing the AIS without videoing it. Not sure who needs to see it or who wants to see it, but like I said, I didn't film any of the process. But I took everything out of the front here. There are 4 8mm bolts here and here, which take out a plate, which holds the entire pump assembly there's a canister that's on this side, and once you disconnect one Phillips head screw and those 4 bolts, you see the holes there for the bolts. This whole thing will come out of one side, and this pump assembly comes out between the A-frame. It actually sits sort of like that, I believe. And then you have the pipe that comes up the side here and bolts to the side of the head, the cylinder here, and it comes down and around, and you have another one that bolts in right there. And those are 5mm Allen head screws, 2 of them for each of those. And so this is a 2006, and on this one, this is a 1700. So the piece that's coming, or the kit that's coming to block that off, is going to be 2 plates, one that goes here and there to block those off. And there's another piece, and I quite frankly don't know what it does yet because I haven't gotten it. In order to get to these 2 bolts here, I did take loose the bracket holding up the fuel pump and such. So you just take the cover off, which is right there. Take the cover off, take the fuel pump and the fuel filter off. They just hook down on those brackets with the rubber base there. 2 10mm bolts up there, and I just moved it to the side in order to get greater access there. So I'm gonna just loosely bolt it back up because I'm waiting for the kit to come to with the block off plates. So it doesn't make sense to close this all back up just to take it off again and give myself easy access to that. But that is the removal of the AIS. It was actually very simple. I went in and ate dinner, but if you all told, all the time I spent pulling it off took me about 15 minutes, maybe 20. And that was not knowing exactly what I was working with. I still have to block off the hose that goes up to the front here. I'm not sure if I'm going to block that off or actually take it loose and block it up there as opposed to down here. But then I'm going to try to put a bracket down there for my horn, which is there. So there we have it. Removal of the AIS. I might go pumpless at some point, but I'm not ready to do that just yet because that's going to require me buying another carburetor and some other stuff, which that's just not necessary for me to do right now. There's too many other things in the build to get done. As I said last little cut, I'm doing the AIS delete, and I showed you the parts that had to come off in order to do the AIS delete. I just got in the mail my my Barron's AIS delete kit for this bike. As you see, air injection kit for Yamaha. There's the part number. There's not a lot to it, and actually this center cap here is not for our bike. That's for doing it on a Warrior. We have these 2 flange block off plates, and inside there is a rubber cap that's going to block off the vacuum line at the top by the throttle bodies. So I'll be putting this on in just a little bit, and then the AIS delete will be complete. And this is the line on top of the manifold that you're going to put the little plug on that comes with the AIS delete package. And it's right there behind the mount. Yes, I still have a fuel pump here. Haven't decided what I'm going to do with regard to going pumpless or not. But that's where I'm putting the plug on for the AIS delete. I've decided that while I've got all this stuff off of the side of the bike, since I removed the AIS last week, I'm going to go ahead and pull the fuel pump. I think I have my my air horn here. I've been trying to figure out how I could mount that up in the front under the rectifier, since that would give me more room after removing the AIS. But I don't really like the way that's going to look, even though it'll be behind the chin spoiler and there's enough room to put it back there. I think it'll add something back there I don't really want to see, and it'll cut down on airflow. So I'm just going to pull this sucker off of here. I may or may not have to relocate my enricher, since I may be putting the horn here. So we'll see how that works out. I'm not going to do the Mikuni 42. I'm going to stick with my stock carburetor and put in the Grizzly float valve assembly. And go with that. I think I still have to vent the gas cap. That's not the one that's going to stay on there, but I think I still have to vent that but we'll see. So I'll try to pull that off today and see what I can get to. I've got my enricher cover so that I will go ahead and put that on once I pull the carb off. But I don't think my float valve is going to get here until tomorrow or the next day from Partzilla. So I'll keep you guys in the loop. It hadn't broken yet, but as you can see when you look real close, she was on the verge. So I got my stainless steel enricher cover replacement. I'm not going to say just in a nick of time, but definitely in time, because this was ultimately going to fail. Pulling the pump is not terribly difficult. It's a rubber mount that seats on this foot here. So you pull the entire thing off. You have your electrical connection up here for the fuel pump, which you'll disconnect. The whole thing slides off, and then you've got your fuel line connection to the carb right there. So I'll separate that, temporarily put a screw or something in there just in case there's a little bit of fuel in it. But the bike hasn't run for quite some time, and the line should be empty. There shouldn't be anything in the carb or in the float bowl. But to be safe, I will go ahead and take that loose and put a bolt in it. I'm going to get a Tygon hose line to go from here to the bottom of the petcock and get rid of that, because the Tygon will look better. But I'll probably still cover it in a sheathing similar to that, because it'll be heat resistant, running between the heads going across there. So again, easy to take this off. Obviously that'll open up the side a lot, and I will go ahead and test fit my horn there to see if I need to get rid of that entire mount, or if I can keep that, put the horn on it, or fabricate a different bracket that will mount to the top of the motor mount. Easy, simple stuff there. As you can see, I decided to go ahead and pull the fuel pump, go pumpless, and I was trying to figure out what I was going to do on this side as far as mounting the horn. I didn't like the way the horn was going to be down there, and even behind the chin spoiler, I was going to have to create a crazy mount in order to get this particular style of horn to mount. So what I've done is I actually took the remainder of the fender that I cut off when I mounted the front fender, just a temporary mount, bent that 90 degrees, mounted the horn on there just to kind of get a feel for how it would look and how it would fit. It fits pretty good. I would shorten this so that it wouldn't stick so far out, bring it a little closer to the motor. But it doesn't look half bad on that side. I lose the clean side of the motor by having the fuel pump gone. But you know, it's a give and take. So I'll decide if that's where I'm going to leave it or if I'm going to move it somewhere else. I might have to change horns completely if I'm not going to try to keep something that's taking up a lot of space. But we'll see. But that's what it looks like right now. We'll see what the finished product ends up being. While I was out here, I took, this is all of the wiring. Forgive this, all this stuff that's just in tape that's not even being used. So this is just kind of temporarily here, so I can decide what to do with it. Inline fuses for a couple of the for the headlights actually, and the connectors that I made, and this is all running back now to the grip ace control module, and I put all the starter wiring circuitry on a relay that's now sitting under here. So instead of it being in the front, I ran it all the way back, because that's what was holding me up from mounting the tank originally, was having that relay sitting right here, and I didn't like the exposure it would have to water and whatnot. So I wanted to move it back there and put it behind a cover. Everything looks a little messy right now. It's still all yet to be cleaned up. This is all just kind of temporarily in place until I can get the final layout of everything. But that's what I was working on tonight, was this and a little bit of wiring. So I decided I would go ahead and keep the horn on this side. I have the option to move it later on if once I get the tank and everything on, I really don't like the look of it. I also need to make sure that it's not going to interfere with the petcock once I put the tank on. But anyway, got it mounted. I changed up this mount a little bit. I basically put another hole in it farther down, so it moved the whole thing in closer. Still got plenty of clearance between the jug and the horn. All the wiring, you know, comes from underneath runs behind. It's in that braided cover right there, runs to the other side, connects with the line for the horn switch itself, goes all the way down, and it's all tied into a relay here that's on the same bracket with the other relays. I'll neaten that up a little bit before I put the cover on. But that's where I will keep it for now. I tested it. You're going to hear the noise of the compressor because the hoses aren't hooked up to anything, so it's going to keep pumping because it's not going to build pressure. But just a quick test. And hold your ears. And that will be plenty loud if I need to signal somebody. But that's where I'm going to stop for now. Waiting for a couple other parts to come in. Tomorrow I will likely work on putting the tank on there. Because I have these stretched tank skins, I'm going to have to do something for the bolt. Myself and Kirk and Jeremy have been talking about different ways to put these bolts through here, either threaded rod with acorn nuts on the outside or something. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little door, something decorative. It'll be movable on one side and solid on the other side of the tank. That way it's a decoration, but on the left side it'll actually be functional to be able to get a socket in, to get on this. And, well, not put a socket on it, but to be able to, from behind, I'll be able to take it loose, but then pull it out through the side of the tank skins. Just an idea I'm toying with, so we'll see how that works out.